Viewer discretion is advised on this episode. Believe it or not.
We actually
only slightly more than usual.
Yeah.
Because America is filled with prudes.
Okay, but let me finish. This is 3 Men in Anime for March 19th, 2018. This is Peter Bowman. I'm joined by Gav, Leaf, and Eric Carlson, my good friends and co-hosts. We're covering Eric's most recent selection, Shimoneta, A Boring World Where the Concept of Dirty Jokes Doesn't Exist. Dear God, that title's a mouthful.
That's what she said.
Yes. This is... the show is... does not pull punches about sexuality in any way, shape, or form. Except in the ways that it does, which we'll get into. The show is very frank and talks about sex a lot. So we're going to be talking about that a lot.
So many dick jokes. So many dick jokes.
Yes.
Yeah, basically, you're not going to see anything and you're not going to hear anything that we won't normally say, but if you are sensitive to the subject and the topic, yeah.
I'm just going to... it's... I just wanted to get that out there ahead of time because that's what the subject matter is going to be tonight. You could say this is a fan service show. You could say this is an ecchi show. It's technically yes.
Yeah.
I guess.
It technically is. No, by every technical definition, it is.
Sure,
it's more
but
than
the
that.
Motivation behind it isn't the same.
That doesn't change the fact that it is, though.
This is the thing. When Eric started suggesting this, he was looking through... when he was like... Last week, when he was like, I don't know what we're doing, he was looking for trash. He was looking for something just funny and all the rest of it. And then we came across this, and although it's ecchi, it's all that, it's fan servicey, the message in it is actually very clever.
Okay,
basically, I realized I needed to finish this show, and I was like, you know what? This is a really good show. I'm gonna finish it with you guys.
Yeah.
And it's kind of trashy.
Okay, it is...
Well, not really at all, honestly.
Okay, here's the thing. On the surface, this show is bawdy, raunchy, complete trash on the surface.
I wouldn't even go that far.
I would, Eric. That's what it looks like. I'm not... The thing is... At its core, and when you actually even give it a moment's thought, you realize this is actually satire. And I mean by the actual definition of satire, not parody.
Yes.
It falls not to the same sort of level of quality, but it falls under the same sort of catchment as, say, something like Kill la Kill. If you look at it from the surface, it looks fan servicey, it looks pointless, and it looks cheap and pervy.
It's like a Paul Verhoeven movie. You can enjoy it on a haha dumb sex comedy level, but you start peeling back the layers and you see there's more to it.
Yes.
All right. So, Eric, why don't you just state the basic premise of the show since this is your recommendation?
Okay, so this show takes place in the near future, where Japan has apparently had a sexectomy. Basically, some public decency laws were passed and are draconianly enforced, and have been in place for a couple decades at this point. Sex and innuendo and all that, it's completely verboten. It is not talked about. Sex education does not exist, to the point where people actually wear little devices as chokers and bracelets that will track their movements and what they and their speech to keep them from saying things like masturbator and dickmungus and that kind of shit.
Here's the thing: they are devices that on the surface allow them to, access the internet. They can,
Yep. Their phones.
Their phones, their news. They are very useful devices that can be used to monitor everything they say and do.
They're smartphones. But they, just like smartphones, they track fucking everything.
Right. And by the way,
it's actually used for more than just target advertising.
Yes. And as an aside, Eric talks about the various naughty words and it goes beyond that. Like, actual technical terms are like penis, vagina.
You cannot say penis. You cannot say vagina. You cannot say vulva. You cannot say fallopian tube.
Anything that's deemed coarse language. Even like swearing to the degree, but although they do, they do use the usual, damn and hell and all that sort of stuff. But there's no.
But those aren't sexual, Gav.
No, anything sexual, anything is not allowed at all.
Yep. Blasphemy is one thing. Blasphemy is fine. Which, and again, I'm whatever. Sure, go for it. As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I'm fine with all forms of vulgarity, but for the most part.
To the point where we mentioned they'd have the ones around the neck, the chokers for their speech, and the smartphones around the wrists. They're so sensitive, the wrist can tell what you're drawing.
Yes.
You can't
or writing, or what have you.
You can't even write something or draw a cock and balls on something.
It tracks the movements of your wrist.
It's implied that they will know when you're masturbating.
Yep.
And that's also verboten. Mm. This is a remarkably dystopian world.
Yes.
Which is the point.
Here's the thing. At this point, it's been a couple decades since all of this has gone through. The teenagers that we're following, for the most part, have no idea what any of this shit is.
Yep. None.
The degree of ignorance is astounding.
We see a couple of scenes of the morality police, or whatever they're referred to as.
Public Decency Squad.
Public Decency Squad arresting a bunch of adults that have managed to get hold of a stash of dirty mags.
Yeah,
even they're
that's
reading,
what it opens on.
They're reading them they're flicking the pages open with knives and not touching the actual magazine itself. And they have to use code phrases to describe what they're looking at. And as soon as anyone mentions anything, it's like the fucking SWAT team dives on them because they've been rumbled. It's that sort of level.
And then there's straight out of Fahrenheit 250 for something or other.
451.
Michael Moore movie.
No. Is that a Michael Moore movie? I was thinking the Ray Bradbury book.
Yes. Oh. You're thinking of Fahrenheit 451.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Like straight out of the opening scene from that, where they pile up all the dirty mags that they're looking at and take flamethrowers to them.
Yes. And so in the actual the school age people, it's complete and utter I won't say ignorance, but just. It's not ignorance because they just don't. It's literally something they've never come across.
Oh, it's absolutely ignorance. It's a weird, innocent kind of ignorance.
It's enforced ignorance.
As we find out, is just as dangerous as everything else.
Oh, lordy, yes.
Our main character is. I was just looking at the page.
Tanukichi Yokuma.
That I was looking for his last name. Thank you, Tanukichi Yokuma, and he is the son of he has the ignominious honor of being the son of a sex freedom activist who was arrested and vaporized for all we know. He is not involved in the show at all, except mentioned on occasion. And the occasional
they mentioned that whatever he did back then was one of the, not leading factors, but basically it's one of the reasons why the whole censorship thing is as bad as it is.
Yeah, it sort of ended up giving the government enough leverage to force through more bullshit, more draconian laws, basically.
Mm, yeah,
they used his protests as a way to leverage more draconian enforcement.
They literally brand him as a sexual terrorist.
Yes.
That's the term used a lot in this show.
Yes, it is.
So Tanukichi's transferring from his old high school, which is a moral cesspit. I'm under the impression that is simply. I'm under the impression it's filled with homeschool kids that.
They refer to it as a moral cesspit, but from what we gather, It's more that Okuma and obviously the classmates that he grew up with and his are aware that sex is a thing.
Yes.
They're
So
not
therefore,
quite sure how
there's a
it
moral
works,
cesspit.
but it's a thing.
I will also say it's also I think primarily it's just not an elite school is really what it boils down
That
to.
too, yeah.
Yeah, it is a school full of have-nots.
Yes.
And he is transferring to the school with the highest moral righteousness in Japan. He has worked really hard to get to the ability to do this, so that he can meet up once again with his childhood friend and crush, Anna something long.
Yeah, Nishi Kinamiya.
We'll just call her Anna.
Yes.
Anna, yeah.
Who he has something of a crush for, and like a great deal of longing from afar, shall we say?
Yeah,
But
there's
again,
also a lot of it's largely based on a lot of respect, and also when he was a kid, after his father was arrested and was being treated like a pariah, she was the one person who willingly came up to him and was willing to play with him on the playground.
And again, take into account, this isn't the usual romantic sort of, adoration. He literally just he adores her as a pure person.
Yeah.
He's not trying.
She's so pure
he's not
and
trying to get in
upstanding.
her pants.
Well, that would be wrong and vulgar, Gav.
Exactly.
And a lot of Tanuchi's, a lot of these series of Tanukichi getting over his self-imposed purity, shall we say?
Yes, and also his getting over his putting Anna on a pedestal, shall we say?
Oh, she wants a pedestal, we'll say.
Yes.
Yeah. Okuma is. So he basically he starts off on the train to school. Another student is accused of groping a female passenger, which he clearly didn't do.
It's great. You would touch my bum area. Why would I do that? That's ridiculous. There's plenty of space between us. It's not like we're crowded in here.
And Okuma, because he's a bit more streetwise and all this sort of stuff, and he's from the rough side of town, he's also aware that there are a few people out there, women especially, that will accuse men of doing that sort of stuff to try and make some cash.
I'm not even sure it's women especially in this show.
Well, no,
yeah, he just instantly picks up as like, oh, this is a scam.
Yes.
So he changes his appearance briefly. He puts on like a bandana, takes off his jacket. It was me. I touched your bum area. Aha! And he escapes out the door when it opens.
Yeah, he pulls her out the door, and he's like, "Come on, we must report myself to the authorities." And she actually says to him, "Kid, what are you doing? I could have made some money out of him."
Do you know what that uniform's from? He's loaded.
Yeah.
And because she's pissed, she instantly starts screaming like, "Help! He's molesting me!" And a bunch of morality police show up. Like, holy crap! Like 3 squads show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are easily double digits. There are easily double digits, possibly 20. Like, there are a lot of them. And
he assumes he's boned until the area is attacked by the terrorist blue snow. By attacked, I mean some dirty playing cards get thrown about the area as a woman with panties on her head covering her face like a ninja, and a sheet and nothing else starts shouting dirty jokes from on top of of the overpass.
Yep. And so Okuma basically takes the mass distraction to escape.
Shimmying down a rope left by blue snow for him to get the hell out.
Yep.
So he gets to school. He's invited to to join the student council by Anna, where he meets Anna, and she invites him to join the student council because she's worried that about all the sexual terrorism going on. People making lewd jokes and leaving dirty pictures around. She's worried that's going to happen in the school. Because he's from the wrong side of the tracks, he knows what that lewdness is, because we have no idea. We're so pure, we can't recognize lewdness when we see it.
She's not wrong.
It's true.
No.
It turns out she's really not wrong. I'm like, some of it, like,
really not wrong.
If there's any level of subtlety to it, no clue.
Yep. Goes right over their heads. Like a 747 over a snail.
Like, there's one bit. There's one bit. I mean, again, we're not going to hit every single point.
Dear God, no.
But to highlight this, there's one bit where like they've spread pictures around the school, and she's found a picture. She's framed it and put it up because it's of a village girl with a mushroom between her boobs.
Like with her mouth open.
Eat it.
Yes.
Yeah. And she's like, "What? What do you mean that's lewd? I just thought it was a girl enjoying a mushroom. I mean, I don't know why she's not using her hands. I mean, maybe they burned or something, but
maybe it's like a festival game or something. You know,
yeah,
have those."
And Okuma's like, "No, trust me. It's lewd.
Trust me. It's actually profoundly lewd."
And Anna's like, "Okay," and throws it in the garbage can and sets it on fire.
The other members of the student council are.
There are two other members of the student council.
Yeah, are Ayami.
Ayame Kaju.
Ayami Kaju. Kaju.
Kajo.
Kaiju.
Not Kaiju. Kajo.
We'll call her Kaiju. The vice president. The severe, austere, cynical, and Blue Snow.
She's totally not Blue Snow.
She's
totally not. She's totally Blue
Snow.
Right. She's Blue Snow.
Same voice actor, same length of hair, same body type. They're actually really good about having a lot of different types of body types in this.
They are.
It's clearly Blue Snow. And what's his?
Goriki.
Goriki, yeah.
Yeah, Raiki Goriki, who's this like big, like thuggish, almost gorilla-like dude who initially doesn't like Okuma because he's from the wrong side of the tracks, and clearly he's here to corrupt them, right? Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Although Goriki is also the one that Okuma saved on the train.
Yes.
It turns out, yeah. The reason Goriki was there in the first place, he was actually stalking Okuma to try and catch him doing something.
Yep. But he doesn't trust him.
At least not yet.
No. That does change. So
character relations in this show change immensely.
Very quickly, often. But usually with good reason, actually.
Yes.
Yes.
So Kajo, basically blackmails Okuma into joining her sexual terrorist group, which now consists of her and him.
Basically, she literally blackmails him. There's no basically about this. She blackmails him.
She's like, "No, I've got the rope that I hung out for you to slide down. I've got your like skin fibers all over it."
He's like, "Oh fuck," because we actually do catch him like earlier in class, like treating rope burn on his hands. They actually do a good job of foreshadowing that.
Yep, they do. Now she does ask him to join and not blackmail him initially.
Right.
But when he says hell no, she's like, all right, then I'll blackmail you. And he's like, fuck. Though he doesn't say that, because of course he doesn't.
No, he can't say that. He can't.
Well, literally, he'd get in trouble if he did.
Yeah, because Kajo actually has a flip phone here in the future that allows her to say dirty words for 3 minutes a day.
It blocks out the whatever the devices are called.
What are they called? I want to call them moralizers, but I know that's not right.
It's not what they're called.
No.
Not really that important.
No.
The PMs, that's what they are.
Yeah. That's the
Purity monitor. Yeah, purity monitor.
Purity monitor. Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, this phone blocks specifically the signal from hers. So other people around her have got to be careful. But
no, I think it's just a blanket block.
It's a blanket block in a small area around her.
Oh, okay, missed that.
There are a couple of times where Okuma actually says a few things that are a bit risque.
Mm-hmm. Oh, fiddlesticks.
He says "fuck" at the end of the show.
He does say "fuck" at the end of the show. Fuck yeah.
So yeah. So for 3 minutes today, she can say whatever the fuck she wants, and she is so.
So many bad, terrible sex puns.
Yes.
Yeah. Honestly, I'll be perfectly honest. Ayame starts to grate a little bit, but luckily Okuma has no problem fucking calling her out. So
I didn't find her grating at all. I found her hilarious. Just the sheer joy on her face every time she makes a bad pun.
But she'll flip it open and say something completely nonsensical that doesn't even fucking make sense. And Tamakichi will just turn around and say, "Really? Really? That was worth it? That was worth 3 seconds?"
That wasn't even clever that time.
Yes. That hardly applies.
How is that even a pun?
But yeah, she takes immense delight in being able to take the shackles off her mouth and her imagination. Because, she at heart likes bawdy, dirty jokes.
That's all right-thinking people do.
And and part of the reason she's doing this and is found to the terrorist organization SOX.
Because the O looks like a butthole.
That is the explanation.
Also, they can say that without,
Right.
It's very clearly that if it wasn't for the PMs, it would be sex.
Yes.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
But long story short, she's doing this because she's looked at society and said, yeah, things are really fucked up and nobody knows anything about sex, and that's going to be really a big problem.
I mean, it's
not going to be, it is.
Well, yes, but possibly even a bigger one.
It's highlighted before all this, before the student council were introduced to another character called Hyoka Fua.
Yes.
Who is a girl, the typical sciencey type. She walks around in a lab coat all the time. Dark circles under her eyes because she never fucking sleeps.
Completely deadpan at all times.
Yes.
She's amazing.
And she has a habit, in fact, we first meet her, where you see him, he's reading a book at his desk, and she's like, "Excuse me." Looks around, no one's there. "Excuse me." Lifts his book up. She's crawled up under his desk, and her head is directly between his legs.
Yes.
I'm given to understand you're from a particularly loose school. Could you explain to me the concept of body molding? I must know where babies come from. You don't understand. I went to the gynecologist.
It's literally the first thing she asks is, where do babies come from? She doesn't. And she says, I'm hypothesizing it's something to do with the man's cucumber.
You can tell she really wants to use the correct scientific terminology because she's a scientist.
She starts a couple times and catches herself.
To the point where, though, when Ayami, Ayami's the one that approaches him to bring him to the student council, and to the point where, to get her out of the way, she just basically, I think she steps on her head, pushing her face into his crotch.
Yes.
But this is not a sexual thing, because they don't know it's a sexual thing.
By the way, Fua is probably my favorite character in the show.
She's kind of amazing.
She really is.
But yeah, this super genius scientist doesn't know how sex works at all.
And she's desperately trying to find out. The best she can get is through, observation of a couple of flies she caught in her lab and watching them fuck. It's like, I'm pretty sure they're having that they're body melding, and I'm pretty sure this will result in offspring, but I can't be sure. Does this apply to humans?
I have no idea if this applies to humans. None. My brain hurts.
Yes,
That's mine.
yeah, no, I understand. This is like I say, it's very quickly you start to realize, it's a dystopian future, but it's also these kids are all fucking stunted.
Yes,
because they
like
have
you hear some of the rumors at one point going around like the bathroom, like dude, I heard if you put on a girl's underpants, your carrot will fall off. Really? I heard that it turns into a thing.
It's just like, oh my god. These are high school students!
Yeah. And society is designed so that it's purely designed so that there's no advertising or sex doesn't sell in this society. So there's not even an inkling of
innuendo isn't a thing.
There's no curiosity. There's no clue that that's how it works. So
but there is curiosity. There's a tremendous amount, but it can't be expressed, and that Sox's whole bit.
Yeah.
In fact, the first major thing they do is they take film of Fua's flies fucking, and they take over to a school assembly. They hijack it and just show flies fucking, and
well, no, it's flies fucking while Ayame narrates a fucking porno script over the top of it.
Yes,
because it's hilarious.
Yes, it is. And we have an assembly full of very confused and somewhat aroused students. Okay, and when I say somewhat, I mean, I know, not somewhat, but actually,
no. And they are fucking...
Why are my pants getting tighter? Yes. This is a line that is actually uttered by a high school student. Watching flies fuck. That's how repressed they are.
Oh, good
Jesus Christ!
And this is the thing. At this point, it's played for laughs, and it is. It's a comedy. But you start to, like you say, you scratch under that surface, and you start to see, oh my god, this is fucking tragic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Again, as I said, we
haven't gotten to the really fucked up shit yet.
No, and we haven't. No, I will say this flatly. Again, I said this at the beginning. This is satire. It is legitimate satire. This is classic Gulliver's Travel level satire.
This is taking a look at all the the society and people saying how it's a cesspit, it's a mess, and everything's too vulgar, and children aren't children anymore. And this is the exact polar opposite, and realizing no, this is not a good solution either.
No. This is a modest proposal except for sex education.
Yep. This is abstinence-only education.
But taken to the nth degree.
Taken to the nth degree, because then it's funny.
Well, again, it's a modest proposal. If you don't know what a modest proposal is,
it was Oscar Wilde, wasn't it?
John, it was Swift.
Was it Swift? Okay.
It was Swift. Yes, the same author as Gulliver's Travels. To briefly sum up a modest proposal, it was his little satirical essay about how to solve the famine problems in Ireland. And the answer was very simple: cannibalism.
I really don't find that proposal terribly modest or outlandish, but
You wouldn't. Cannibal King of Boston.
Only in Fallout, I'd get caught otherwise.
But at any rate, but yeah, this is a modest proposal when applied to sex education. I'm not actually joking about this.
No, that's entirely true. They eventually recruit an artist into their little crew.
Satome.
Yep, Satome, who's also tiny little chick with a giant crush on Anna.
Yep.
But also a fucking giant talent. She's an absolute genius with a paintbrush. Yes. But she's frustrated because she's
stuck at a massive creative rut and suffering from a degree of nameless frustration that she doesn't understand. with a giant crush on Anna.
Yep.
So eventually they figure out that Anna's got a stalker. That's not cool. So Tommy gets the idea, is like, hey, if we get someone to like go on a date with Anna and make sure the stalker finds out, then you and me, Okuma, we can jump out and save her, and then she'll love me.
Well, I mean, Kajo wants to stop the stalker because Anna's her best friend.
Yeah.
And legitimately, they are friends. There's a lot of things about Anna that are quite likable. She is, in most ways, a very sweet, nice girl.
She absolutely is. She's literally the epitome of purity. She's sweet, nice, friendly. All
she genuinely cares about like the people around her.
She absolutely.
And takes an honest interest in them.
Yep.
And again, when we say Otome,
with one giant flaw.
And as we say, when Otome says that she's got a crush on Anna, it's not a sexual crush. It's that adoration.
Yeah.
Well, also Saotome, Anna's
she's
also, she's her muse. She's also like, from an aesthetic, artistic standpoint, Saotome desperately wants to actually paint her like live.
Yes.
She wants her as a model, like, and she, and she admires her, etc. And as Eric said, she is an ideal, sweet person, except with one really big flaw. Oh boy, we'll get there.
So they come up with a cunning plan. They'll have Kajo dress up like a dude and take Anna on a date in the park, while Tanuki and Satome like hide in the bushes. With the cunning plan, for some reason, like they basically force Tanuki to dress up in women's
Saotome, Kajo doesn't know
Saotome,
about...
Yes. Saotome gets the, you have to dress up like a woman. Why? Because no one will believe, will recognize you. And then I will be the one she recognizes. So dress up like a woman. I am not trusting. Dress up like a woman now! Okay.
Take into account, at the beginning of this episode, Saotome chained Tanukichi to a fucking chair. When she first captured him, and I mean that captured him.
Yes.
Yeah, she slapped irons around his neck and drug him off. And everyone was very confused by this, but they're like, whatever.
Yeah. And basically, the reason
desperately trying not to giggle at the situation in the background.
The reason for it is though because Saotome actually spotted Tanukichi helping Blue Snow.
Right.
Yes.
So again,
she catches him in the act at one point during one of their lunatic escapades. He like escapes the roof to get away from the student council, and she happens to be up there drawing and catches him. So that's how she gets him to dress up like a woman, and Anna and Kajo are going for a walk in the park, and then some lunatic with a rock screams, "Get away from my Anna!" and charges.
Well, before that happens, Goriki stumbles across Saotome and Okuma there.
Yes,
and he's like, "Okay, I know. What are you doing here, Saotome? And who are you?" And wait,
Okuma? What the hell are you dressed like that for?
Just an honest confusion. At which point the stalkers, come after them. Kajo deals with one of them quite easily because, let's be real, she's a badass.
Yeah, she's a badass, and she's a sexual terrorist. She has to know how to handle herself.
Right. But
then, like, 3 others charge.
Yes. And Okuma's like, oh, God, I gotta help. So he dashes in.
Leaps to action, and gets his ass... Falls on Anna, gets his ass kicked.
He gets clonked in the back. He gets clonked in the head with a rock.
Yes. Yeah, he gets brained, and just lands like in a fucking heap on top of Anna.
Who recognizes him? Like, holy crap! He this is Okuma. Well, yeah. He jumped in the way. He saved me.
Yeah, because he got beat over the head. The wig fell off.
Yes, and this led to an accidental kiss.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which he's mortified. He's mortified by because, oh my God, she'll hate me forever.
Well,
He's
she's
violated her
something's
purity.
forever.
Yes. So yeah, he wakes up in the hospital. Gorky has flipped 180 on him because it's very clear Okuma actually is a good guy, and he risked his life to protect Anna. And Gorky's like, okay, dude, I was wrong. You're a good dude. I'm
cool.
really sorry.
You're cool. You're cool. We're best droogs now. We're totally best droogs. The bestest droogs. And something else, but I don't understand it. But we're totally bestest droogs.
Long story short, Gorky develops a crush on him. And it's actually kind of sweet. It's really
sweet and adorable, and poor Gorky has no idea what's going on, but he knows he wants to hang out with them all the time.
And no, he brings him these very intricately done carved sliced apples and such for snacks in the hospital. Gorky likes home ec.
Yeah. He brings in bento boxes and all that kind of shit.
Yeah. Because he cooks
for to walk with him to school.
Yeah, he makes lunch for his sister, and he figured I'll make an extra one for my buddy. Gorky's a complete sweetheart, honestly.
He really is. Gorky's a cool dude.
If it wasn't for the horrible dystopian society where he would be one of the bestest guys ever. Seriously.
Yes.
I really like Gorky a lot. Complete sweetheart. But, and Fua sneaks in to talk to Okuma because, she's not allowed in any hospitals.
Because she doesn't do any... Fua is like Dr. Doom. She won't use the door because doors are for peasants.
Well, she's been banned from every hospital in the city.
That's true.
She keeps wandering in and trying to ask questions.
There's no, go away, you crazy lady.
Stop asking those questions. We just stop asking them.
We're not allowed
just
to
be a
know.
good kid and stop asking questions.
But I'm a scientist. I have to know. Dear God, she's a brilliant scientist, and we need her in the society. But oh God, why? Just go away, kid. You're not allowed here anymore.
So she's straight to the point, and she's kind of. She's grilling him on why. Well, it goes back to the first bit with the flies, and she's got an idea that he knows what's going on with that because he knows about sex. He knows where babies come from.
Also, she's upset. She wants him to talk to the student council because they've basically purged her lab of all her flies and such.
Yeah,
and she's like, but that's terrible. These were my pets. I mean, admittedly, flies don't live very long, but she can keep breeding them for as long as she needs to.
Yes,
and she's very unhappy about this.
She understands the life cycle. They're maggots. They need rotting meat. She can provide that. It's not hard.
At any rate, so she wants him to, because he's part of the council, and she thinks he'll probably be able to convince Anna and Gorky, especially as Gorky seems to have flipped 180 on him. It's you should probably be able to convince, you're friends with the entire council, and I know you clearly understand what I'm talking about in terms of wanting to keep why I'm upset about them, getting rid of all my stuff. Could you, convince them to leave my lab alone, please?
It's really just the thing I want. The only thing I want.
And he's like, well, I'm not sure Anna will actually be helped. She's not come by to see me at all. I think she hates me now. And when he eventually gets back to school, it's very clear she's avoiding him.
To the point where even when he asks a direct question on the student council, she will say it to Ayami, who typically sits across the desk from him.
Yep.
So she'll answer his question, but talking to the whole group, and he's not there.
Right.
Yep.
Because she can't look at him.
And it turns out she's not entirely sure why. Though she kind of figures it out eventually.
Yeah, she figures out that she's in love with Okuma.
Yep.
She's in love with Okuma. Well,
so when we were talking about Ayami, when she realized what was going on and what was what, she's that awakening. She's a bit more switched on than everyone else. Yeah, Anna. I'm stuck on my metaphor. Is she a volcano or an atom bomb?
Yes.
Anna has a sexual awakening. She has no idea what to do with this, except that this feels good.
Anna has a sexual awakening the same way Bruce Banner has a temper tantrum.
Yes. She has a sexual awakening, and it revolves entirely around Okuma, so therefore it must be love. And anything that makes me feel good involving love must be right and pure. Therefore, whatever I do that makes me feel good while I'm with Okuma is good. Also, I have super strength. Just look at... just extrapolate out from there.
So, yeah, she sort of starts stalking him. And when I say sorta, she starts stalking him.
Anna is a beast.
She is abjectly terrifying. Now, here's the thing. I think she genuinely does love Okuma.
Yes.
Oh, she does.
Oh, she absolutely does.
It's not just lust.
It's not just lust, but she has no idea how to separate the two feelings from one another.
Not at all. Not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit. And she has no concept of boundaries.
No.
Because none of this was ever discussed with her. It was never taught to her. So
there's a scene at one point, and not even getting into the disgusting bits, which, oh good lord, this girl. There's a bit where she captures him at one point and physically bites off the zipper of his pants.
Yep.
Yes.
To the point where, as she's walking
Screaming,
away
I
later,
want to taste your love nectar.
to the point where she's walking away later on, and you see her picking at her teeth and spit something, and it's his fucking fly.
Yeah.
It was in her teeth. She's literally the stereotypical joke anime character that just like she looks tiny and frail. She will melt fucking concrete.
She doesn't actually. The thing is,
She's not that tiny and frail. She's actually pretty Amazonian.
She is of the students. She's the second largest student in the school.
What I mean is, like, in personality-wise.
Oh yeah, no.
Personality-wise, she's totally a like.
There's one scene where she jumps out of the window to chase someone, and I swear to God, I was expecting her to just run through the wall.
Yes.
Yeah, like literally the only student who's larger than she is physically is Goriki.
Yeah, and she's Amazonian. She is buff and she is stacked, and yeah, there's a reason why she has admirers, shall we say?
Yes,
terrifying.
Well, she's that too. Yes.
And she's a squirter. We find out she's a squirter.
That's an understatement, Eric.
That's an understatement. There's one point where she leaps off a cliff in aroused distress and leaves a rainbow.
You see, Akuma starts realizing that he's got a stalker not long after he gets out of the hospital. And the only proof that you can see of it is on his balcony in his apartment building is a strange puddle of liquid.
Fluid.
Yeah.
It's sparkly.
Yeah.
Anna comes sparkles.
Anna comes with a snail trail.
Yeah. Well, also, he eventually starts getting letters that are damp.
Yeah. To the point where even Ayami's like, picks up the letter and she's like, oh. She's like,
oh.
Like, running it between her fingers. She's like, this is sick. She doesn't stop doing it.
She's not even sure I'm not sure what it is. Is this what I think it is? Oh God, is this what I think it is?
It gets kind of, well, yeah. She becomes desperate for him to.
She breaks into his house and rapes him. I'm just going to come out and say it.
She doesn't.
She tries to. She is interrupted.
Yes, but this is before. This is after she's tried to make him eat her.
Without realizing what she's doing, she just sort of sits on his face.
Yeah, she thinks that the as she calls it, love nectar is a romantic thing and not a lust thing whatsoever. So she bakes it into cookies, she fills bottles with it and tries to make him drink it.
This is all hilarious, by the way.
It is hilarious.
It is portrayed in exactly the right way for it to be fucking hilarious.
Yes.
And then 5 minutes for you to go, oh God, why?
Yes.
Yes.
5 minutes later, you think about the episode, you're like, oh my God.
It is the show. The show walks this incredibly difficult tightrope that all great satire does.
Mm-hmm.
Between being on the surface absurd and hilarious, and then you sort of start thinking about what you're laughing at. You're going, "Oh my God, why am I laughing at this?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the show in a nutshell.
I mean,
Yes.
This is the thing that they get to the end of it and it's revealed that it's Anna and actually no, yeah, you're right. This is all the scene is all before all of that because they find out that his stalker is Anna because they set up Sao Tome in his
Closet.
Because they get the idea that to break her artistic slump, she needs to see.
She needs to see the act, and she can't anywhere. And she's like,
I
have no idea what I'm drawing. I need to see what's happening.
And if Okuma has an admirer, fine. They put a note on the door saying, "I'm into YouTube. Come in."
Well, to be fair, they do convince him to do so.
Convince, yeah.
They bully him into doing so.
Yeah. And it's basically, somebody comes in, somebody dies on it, and he's like, oh my God. Wait, I know that voice. Lights go on. Anna?
Yeah, and this is the bit where she basically forces herself on him physically, and there is not a goddamn thing he can do.
Because she's so much stronger than he is.
Yep.
Like I said, super strength.
And again, while you're watching it, it is the way it's animated, the way it's voice acted, the way it's written,
The way
is
it's locked,
hysterical.
the way everyone watching, and there are people watching are reacting. It's hilarious.
Yep.
It's a joke, and it's great, and it's hilarious, and then you remember what the fuck just happened.
Yeah. And that is, as near as I can tell, intentional. That is
absolutely intentional.
It has to be.
It has to be. It's the satire in this whole show. This whole show is too good at satire to not be intentionally satire.
I don't use Verhoeven lightly, but it's very much a Verhoeven moment where, like, the Ed 209 comes in, turns a guy into fucking chunky salsa, and someone calls for a medic, and it's hilarious. And you think for a minute, it goes, "Oh my God, that was terrible."
Yes.
Well, I mean, it's the point. It's the point I made. The longer you think about it, the worse that scene gets. And I brought it up at the end, and again, just this one thought led to more thoughts of the show in itself. And I just said it straight: flip the genders on that situation.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly, no
Flip
one's
the genders, change the blocking slightly, and change the music, and it's horrific.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, like, Okuma is in a no-win situation. Literally. He physically can't stop her. He can't, and he can't report her. He has no legal recourse. He has no societal recourse.
He can't report her because describe what happens activates the PM and turns him into a criminal also. Anna is incredibly well connected in that her mother's a very powerful politician.
Both her parents are.
Where, there is a point where they have sexual secret police come into the school, and they just let Anna do whatever because they're under orders to let her do whatever.
Yeah.
Now she doesn't know she's breaking those rules.
Yeah,
because that's it. But yeah.
Like, literally,
it's actually a great it's actually a great metaphor for the whole sexual predation that you see in workplaces and stuff.
Yep.
And yeah.
And
it's also hilarious.
She's completely oblivious that she's doing anything wrong.
Unlike some of the people, but we're that we might be referring to otherwise. But
yeah, she doesn't understand at all that this is wrong. Like, it makes me feel good. It's an act of love. Therefore, it's right. It got to be the right thing. Because no one's taught her anything about this.
Yeah. Also, we realize very quickly that Anna's not just... She's kind of broken in that anything that anybody in a position of actual authority tells her, they tell her that if something is good, she will do it. Like, if her parents told her to murder somebody, and that doing so would be a good thing, she would do it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she has complete utter faith in her parents, and like her mother is trying to institute even more grotesque restrictions on public decency, shall we call it.
Did we mention that Anna's parents are the two lead politicians with the whole Public Decency Act?
We mentioned they're politicians, we didn't mention that. Nope.
Yeah. So they're the ones behind the whole thing, and she's their daughter.
And they're trying to force through like a much more restrictive policy involving electronic chastity belts. Woo!
Yeah. Yeah.
Which honestly is also shown as being hilarious because they show this to the students in a big assembly, and one of them instantly goes, "How do I go to the bathroom?"
Yeah.
It's such a weird show that it gets you, like I said, it gets you laughing in the moment and then makes you feel absolutely horrible for it.
Yep.
I'm not sure to even, like, it's intentional to make you feel horrible about it, but it makes you think about the situation.
Yeah. It's less that I feel horrible about laughing at it and more that I feel horrible about what it's...
The situation.
About the subject matter. Because it's like, wow.
Like I've said, you can watch this as a pure comedy, but if you have any sort of intellect and you scratch below the surface, it just opens up so much more.
Yeah, which is kind of the shit I love, honestly.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Like, this stuff is my bread and butter.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't think we need to cover much more of the plot because I mean.
Yeah, shit happens. There's no, I think we should talk about Gathered Fabric.
Oh, we should talk about Gathered Fabric. Yeah, that's actually another good point.
Another sexual liberation front group opens up, shall we say?
Yep.
So Socks is about like all about sex education and allowing people to have their own awakenings and deal with their own feelings and make jokes and freedom of speech. Gathered Fabric is a bunch of fetishists who really just want to indulge in their fetish.
Yep.
And don't care who they hurt in doing so.
Yep.
They're panty fetishists. They really like panties.
We also get introduced about the same time to the next member of Socks.
Yes.
Oh, yes. What's her name?
Kosari.
Kosari, yes. She says it enough, I should have remembered it.
Kosari speaks about herself in the third person.
Kosari is an adorable little girl.
No, not little. She's maybe a freshman.
Yep. She's this tiny little girl.
Much young. She fronts as being much younger than the other members, but she's not physically.
Yeah, but on the surface, she plays herself off as a cute little girl.
Yes.
She's an evil
manipulator. Is a goddamn sociopath.
Yes. And is very good at manipulating people and playing off the fact that she's adorable.
Yeah. She joined Socks because that means like she gets to indulge in her own craziness. Eventually she switches sides to Gathered Fabric because Socks isn't being extreme enough or taking the right risks or pushing the
she's basically got stick it to the man fever.
Really
yes, her father.
Yeah. That's a politician who supports the repealing of all the sexual.
He actually funds a bunch of the quote sexual terrorist groups behind the scenes.
He's not a politician. He's a media mogul. Actually.
Right, that's what it is. Yes,
he's a media mogul, and he does it all in the DL. And he's sort of like he pays lip service to the prohibition laws. But yeah.
Oh, he cozies up to the politicians on the surface and funds the opposition groups behind the scenes.
But again, Kosari doesn't like that. She thinks it's not being bombastic enough and outgoing enough, and he should just rebel and be, anti the establishment. And he's being a
he's not taking direct. He's not taking direct action.
Yeah.
Because she firmly believes that that's what you have to do. You have to take direct action. You have to crush your enemies.
She's a bomb-throwing lunatic, is what she is.
She is indeed.
Except her bombs are dildos. I think in one occasion, literally.
Quite possibly. There was a period of time when there were balloons filled with yogurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she goes directly to a decency squad station and just water bombs them with yogurt so it looks like jizz because of course.
Yes, because of course, because that is objectively hilarious.
Yeah, and then lets a whole bunch of dudes take the fall for her while she escapes scot-free.
A bunch of guys she's manipulated into following her, and she goes off to join Sox.
And she's all about becoming the next number 2, and she's totally going to supplant Tonikichi, and she can't because Kajo actually really kind of likes Tonikichi, and she's not gonna. That's not gonna happen.
Well, there's also the fact that Kajo doesn't she has a certain level of distrust for her. Also, Okama is, while on the surface he's a little milquetoast and he's easily pushed around by people. At his heart, he's actually tough and brave and smart and gets the job done.
Yeah,
yeah,
and he gets what Kajo's about.
Yeah,
he lets things. He lets his friends push him around, and Anna because he doesn't have a choice, because they're his friends. But he doesn't take shit from anyone else.
Right.
Yeah, it's like I say, on a fundamental level, Kosari just doesn't get what Sox is about.
No, not at all.
No, not at all.
So she's going out there and doing these, wanton acts of vandalism and all the rest of it. And she thinks, I did great, I did awesome, I'm going to just, take over. And Naomi's like, the fuck you do that for? What?
No, that completely undermines our message. Yeah. Why would you do that? What more brings further attention to us from other sectors that we're not looking to antagonize? Why would you do that? That was a tactical and strategic mistake.
We're not trying to hurt the prefects. They're not our enemy. They're as much victims
as we as everyone else. There's also a prefect we meet who is basically ends up being Anna's shadow.
Yeah, she works for Anna's father. Basically.
Oh,
this poor person.
This poor fuck. So,
yeah, Oro Tsukimigusa.
Yeah, long Japanese name person. This poor fuck is like, I will eradicate lewdness in the school. I will paper towels. Paper towels must be removed because they can be used to eradicate these things. Toilet paper must be removed because the toilet paper rolls can be used as a masturbation device. Basketballs must be removed because they are balls and people think balls and they think testicles, so they must be removed.
Yeah. Also, the hoop can be from the right angle can be viewed as a vagina. It's like,
yeah, volleyball nets look like fishnet stockings. It's like, what? And it comes in. She comes in like hard line. Everything is lewd. Until you get to this point where in the classroom and Fua is reading a dirty magazine.
Fua's not reading that. She actually walks up to her and goes, "Okay, so explain this to me. Does this count as lewd?" And she's holding up a
yes.
It's
a dirty magazine that Tome's been putting out. Yeah.
Yeah, and a Gorky slash fic, which Satomi has been producing tons of. I think it's actually titled "Don't Eat My Banana," and that's hilarious.
It is. It's Gorky slash Okama actually.
Yes,
because Saotome is as she's having her own little awakening.
Everyone but Tanukichi and Gorky have twigged on the fact that Gorky has a giant crush on him.
But everything Saotome is absorbing fetishes.
Yes.
It's like
Yes, she
every
really
new,
is.
every new thing that she sees, oh my god, that's so interesting. Oh, that's a great idea. I'm going to
That's as
draw
ridiculous
that.
as a woman with a dick. Woman with a dick. I should draw that.
Yeah, basically, Sao Tome like creates the entire fucking gamut of hentai within a month,
Basically.
Yes.
and it's all out in this school. Oh,
And unsurprisingly, the Goriki Okuma slash mags are very popular among the girls.
yes.
Who would have figured?
Yeah.
But the prefect,
Who
Sumiguchi-
absolutely adores them. She has all the copies.
Yes.
She has a copy of each volume. There are like 12.
But Sakimigusa basically sat there. She goes, "Yeah, this is definitely lewd." Takes it off him, and Fu was like, "No, it's not. I need that for my research into body melding." Well, okay.
Well, if it's for
Give you
research, then fine.
Yeah.
And Okuma's like, "No, that is clearly lewd. What are you doing?" He makes a good point. I should conscript this. No. It's an artistic expression of friendship. Okay, yeah, fine. It's off the list.
And Tanakichi's like, "Wait, how can a prefect be so easy to persuade?"
The prefect, by the way, turns out is a cross-dresser. He's a dude.
Yeah.
Yes. Cross-dresser's not the right term for it.
That's true. But not because he wants to wear women's clothing or he identifies as a woman, but because he was told that he needs to be a girl when he's with Anna, because then he can hang out with Anna and do without any risk of anything lewd happening. So he
Without tempting
completely
her,
reformats his identity to be a woman purely to fulfill his actions as a prefect regarding Anna. Like, the dude is a complete blank slate.
Yep. And he says flat out, whatever, the boss says is what I, in my assignment,
whatever is required of me by my duties, I will be.
And in the situation, if Anna declares that pudding is terrible, I hate pudding. It's like...
Yeah. He basically lives they make the joke that he lives his life on an expanded version and a fucked up version of the 3 laws of robotics.
Yes.
It's literally a case of protect Anna from anything lewd, blah, 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 all of this. Except you get to Rule 5, unless Anna decides that it's good and is okay with it, then I can ignore all the other rules.
Yeah.
Which means that, like, while Anna is, like, has fucking Okuma in a fucking Boston crab while trying to simultaneously pull his pants down, he's just stood there, just watching. It's like, why aren't you helping me? It's like, well, Anna says it's fine.
God damn it.
Yep. So this all leads to a big confrontation, but there's a big confrontation with Gathered Fabric and their leader, White Peak.
Who mollifies himself in used panties.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest, like, I hear the description of the way he smells and his outfit and what he garbs himself in, and I just... Yeah. I'm going to be honest, like, I'm pretty vanilla, but whatever floats your boat. It takes a lot to turn my stomach. The way they describe this guy turns my stomach.
Oh my god. But yeah,
it takes I went to art school. It takes a lot to turn my stomach. This guy turns my stomach.
But yeah, Kosari eventually switches. Basically, Gathered Fabric keeps saying that they're affiliated with Sox, and
meanwhile, Sox disavows them at every turn and is actively working to undermine them.
Right. IMA is like, we have to stop them, and we have to be the ones to catch them to prove that we are not associated with them, because they are so not what we're about.
They're not about liberation. They're about the indulgence of their own fetishes at whatever cost.
Right. And
so,
if they're busted up by the police and we're affiliated with them, we lose. We're done.
Yeah. we will get painted with the same brush, and it is over. We have to be the ones to catch them
because nobody will listen. Nobody will listen.
That we did.
No one will listen to the things we're actually trying to teach if they think we're equally if we're them.
So we have to catch them, and we have to do it publicly and loudly.
Luckily, Gathered Fabric gives them the perfect opportunity by doing something very loud and public.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Kosari switches sides because, like, yeah, rip the system.
Of course.
And then, yeah, it doesn't work out well for her.
Yeah, because she's like coming up with all these crazy these plans to like leave Japan and go build up resistance all over the world. And White Peak's like, that's stupid.
Why would I do that? I'm currently in control of the school with a bunch of hostages who are providing me with a constant stream of used panties. Why would I ever leave?
Oh no, he also acknowledges he can't win.
Yeah.
He knows he's going to lose. He's going to indulge in his fetish as long as he can. That's all he cares about.
Once again,
sacrifice...
Kosari has completely fucking misread the room.
Yes.
Yep.
He is not a revolutionary in any way, shape, or form. That's because Kosari doesn't know what a real revolutionary looks like.
Right, because she's all like, rip the system, yeah! Burn it to the ground! Throw more dildos at people!
She doesn't realize she'd been hanging out with them. Ayame is a real revolutionary. Okuma, once he comes around, is a real revolutionary. Saotome is a real revolutionary.
To be perfectly honest, he comes around almost instantly. He just puts up token resistance.
Oh, of course, he absolutely. I didn't say when he comes around, what it was. So yeah,
like a lot of Okuma puts up token resistance mostly to feel better about it. By the end of the show, he is as on point and loudly screaming things as Kaijo.
Yeah.
So
he does get a great little moment towards the end where they decide to finally go in and deal with Gathered Fabric, and Ayame's like, "Come on, you know you like this shit as much as I do," and he's like, "Fuck yeah, I do."
The other important plot thread is that we should mention is it becomes very clear over the course of the show that Okuma and Ayame actually have fallen for each other.
Yeah, absolutely and totally, and like they acknowledge it by the end of the show, and yeah, they're like, yeah, so we're a thing now. Yeah, we're totally a thing now. So I'm going to tease the fuck out of you. Yeah, that's to be expected.
Well, the good thing about it is they don't ever actually get physical in the show.
Right. That's not the point.
No, it's not the point. It's not the point of the whole thing. Yes, okay, they're trying to promote a sexual revolution and all the rest of it, but it doesn't mean it's going to be like fucking want and whatever else. It's literally a case of they've got mutual affection and they will explore it as healthy fucking people.
Yes.
Because that is their whole shtick.
Yep.
Yes.
They end up recruiting Anna and Goroki to help them out, and the prefect out to help the prefects to help them out taking down Gathered Fabric and White Peak because, as they point out, these guys are worse. Yeah. Also, he abducted a whole bucket load of Okuma's underwear, so you get to keep that.
Yeah, that's Anna.
Okay, yeah, I'm down. Okuma's underwear, I am down. We're in. You're all in. We're doing this.
Admittedly, he's had to scrub himself down, like to make sure he doesn't smell like himself, because Anna can smell him.
Yes, well, yeah.
If there's a superpower, Anna has it.
As there's Will, she can't actually fly, and she doesn't have laser eye beams.
This is true, and I don't think she has any kind of time manipulation. Everything else is on the table for Anna.
Just about. But yeah, the big final confrontation is hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil a goddamn thing about it.
Yeah.
Unsurprisingly, though, yeah, the forces of good triumph over the forces of, oh dear God, you're gross. And Kosari switches sides again when because she realizes, oh fuck, I completely fucked up. I'm so sorry. But she's not actually a sociopath. She just has sociopathic tendencies.
She has pretty strong sociopathic.
Well,
tendencies.
yeah, I mean, we get it's basically
She's got some mental issues. She's just not a lost cause.
Right.
no. It's just like her first reaction is like it's not a safety mechanism. It's literally first reaction is to manipulate people and
Yes.
use people for what you know. I mean, there's a great. I don't want to hit every scene, but there is one that I just want to do. I do want to bring up. There's a great scene when we're first getting to know her, and she's staying with Tanakichi as his little sister.
Little sister, yeah.
Like stepsister. And they wake up one morning, and Anna's there
Yeah.
With a knife.
with a knife in her hand. And Tanakichi's like, Anna, what are you doing? He says, well, I came over last night, but you'd already gone to bed, and you were in bed with another girl. And he's like, wait, last night? How long have you been standing over us?
Oh, it's
hours.
just 6 or 7 hours.
With a knife in
I
her
lost
hands.
I lost track of time. And that's where the thing comes up, where they explains her away as a kid sister.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, he's terrified Anna would like garrote her.
No, just stat.
Well, she actually ends up like pinning her to the ground and stabbing all around her.
Yeah, doing the hand, the knife hand thing, just all around her, on the entire body, to the point where when she stands up and walks away, Kosari falls through the fucking floor.
It should be noted, Kosari's hair kind of looks like a dick from behind.
What kind of?
So it's intentionally looks like a giant dick.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when she falls to the floor, there's a big dick carved into his floor now.
Yes.
Take into account, he's
Lots
on
of dick jokes in the show.
Take into account he's on the top floor of an apartment, so Anna has stabbed with a fucking kitchen knife through his floor, their ceiling.
Yeah.
She's terrifying.
So the knife she's got is maybe an 8-inch long steak knife.
It's a chef's knife. It's a chef's knife.
Deep. Between the floor and the ceiling is clearly 3 feet. She projected kinetic energy through the ceiling by about another 8 inches.
Yes.
But again, it's one of those scenes where it's like, oh, okay. And then you just, it's hilarious. And then you get that level of damage to Anna again. It's like, oh, God.
Someone sit her down and have a conversation about healthy relationships.
Oh, yeah, sorry, just to Hypnofun in the chat. Don't image search this show.
or do. I mean, if you want to. That's your decision.
Yeah.
So, I will say this. Some of the visual gags, while raunchy, are hilarious.
Oh, sorry, no,
There's a rainbow.
No, he's referencing
there's a
Kosari and
rainbow.
the shape.
I'm aware. I'm aware.
Yeah.
Those are funny, though, Gav.
They are.
They're great
They
visual
are.
gags.
Yeah.
I will also say, like, dear God, some of the facial expressions and the way, especially Ayame, the way her facial expressions change from "I am serious, severe Ayame" to "blah, I am a complete sexual lunatic."
The fucking bit with the seal.
Yes.
Oh my God! All I'm gonna say is there's a great bit with a seal.
Yes. Oh my God. She is. Ayame is great. She really is.
If you do watch this, there's a few versions out there. There's the uncut version. There's the dub and the sub. The dub is great. The dub will help because a lot of the jokes are hard to translate.
The localization is very good, so they get the puns to work in English.
Yes.
Yes, and on top of that, don't feel that you're watching a cut down version if you watch the
censored version.
Honestly, the censored version is great because the way they censor things, they put like these little cartoons over things that are acting out what you're not supposed to be seeing. It's great.
It's hilarious. The censorship is actively funny.
It does add to the show, yeah.
It does. Oh my God. So yeah, and there is technically an episode after the final confrontation with White Peak. It's a sort of filler. It's kind of a filler episode.
It's totally a filler episode. It was like, we need to make this 12 episodes because syndication reasons, so we'll make it 12
Yeah,
episodes.
I mean,
Here's
the
last
thing is, they leave a lot of untied threads at the end of the episode. I personally would have, and I mentioned this to these two, I would have preferred something where Tanakichi at least tries to say no to Anna, or at least like help her to start developing herself. Because it's clear at this point, the couple is Tanakichi and Ayami, but
right.
Yeah, they kind of leave that hanging as well. I mean, you get some funny bits with Anna going all fucking Terminator on him again.
Yep.
But
Rainbows.
it's a scene where they're on a cable car.
Oh my
it's a
God.
rickety old bastard to begin with. And then you just see a shudder. They're like, oh my God, it's going to fall. And Ayama's like, no, it's not going to fall. It's her. Turn round. And fucking Anna is hand over handing up the cable car rail towards them.
And gaining.
Gaining.
Oh my God. So yeah, yeah. There's not much else to say about this other than sort of,
The plot isn't important. It's very straightforward.
The plot's important, but you're right. It's straightforward and better encountered first person as opposed to having us recount it to you.
Yes. Yeah, and it depends on what level you want to enjoy this, but if you go into it with open intellects, and actually thinking about what you're watching rather than just dismissing it as a bit of, pervy nonsense, it's actually a very deep show.
Surprisingly.
I'm gonna say, like, this kind of shit's my bread and butter.
Sure.
So there's a reason why I adore Paul Verhoeven.
So I guess we should move into final thoughts. Gav, you first, then me, then Eric. Since it's Eric's recommendation, he gets the final word.
Yeah, I mean, well, I've pretty much just summed up my thoughts there. It is a surprisingly deep show. I'm kind of of two minds because, I mean, as somebody who makes these kind of jokes all the time myself, like I said, Ayami grated a little bit. Because of just how nonsensical her jokes were. It was literally just excuses to say shit. I think the writing could have been a little bit cleverer for her, but then again, when you think about the situation, it's literally a world where anything is funny. If she'd be able to say that sort of shit, then yeah, fine. She gets away with it. I think Tanakichi is a little bit... I mean, he's in the usual situation. He's surrounded by strong women, so he's going to get beat around. I think he's a little bit too weak in situations. I would have preferred him to at least stand up a little bit more on his own, rather than every situation being bullied into it. But yeah, by the end, it's fine. Like I said, that filler episode at the end, it gives them, at least at the end, it gives them the entirety of Socks, it gives them a good bit of closure.
Yes.
And actually sets them up on the path to being... like I say, those four have a chance of actually making out as healthy human beings.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wish they'd extended that to some of the other people in the surrounding cast. But yeah, look. At the end of the day, it's a good show. It's a shame if you dismiss this based on what you see of it, off the cuff, so to speak. Give it a chance. If you like it, great. If you don't, what's the worst can happen?
Yeah, I agree. I really enjoy this show. As I said at the start, this is legitimate satire, and it's very cleverly done, and the fact that Okuma doesn't end up standing up to Anna is kind of part of the point, and part of what they're satirizing.
Yeah.
So I get why that's the case, and all the things, like, there's so many things about the show that are like, it is not just the thing is, it's not just satirizing. It's not just modest proposaling, abstinence-only education. It's also, satirizing, harem manga and poking fun at like most of the etchy stuff out there, while having this actual sort of real critique at its heart, which is just under this surface level sort of etchy harem stuff on the surface that is not it, which is literally like you scratch at it, you realize this is not what it looks like.
It's if I may, it's one of those things where you could sit in a room with two different people watching this and have two completely different reactions to what happens, and you'd both be right. Largely, yeah.
But at any rate, and as I said, I love the way they animate the faces in this show. As I said, IMA's facial expressions are among the best things in the show, and I really like IMA, Okuma, and Saotome and Goriki. They're great characters. Anna is not really so much a character as a force of nature, but that's the point. And Kosari fills the role she's supposed to fill. So, those are the major characters, and it's a lot of fun. And White Peak's a great antagonist to throw them up against at the end. So, I mean, yeah, seriously, it's a great piece of satire. I recommend it wholeheartedly. But you have to go into it prepared for what it is. Both what's beneath the surface, and you have to be prepared for what's on the surface, because it's not subtle about what is showing on the surface.
Dude, the end of the intro has Ayami shouting, "Cock and balls!"
Yes.
What more do you need?
Yeah.
That's your clue right there.
Yeah.
You get exactly what's on the tin, but there's more.
Well, Eric, it's over to you now.
So, I really like this show. This show's a hilarious mess of absolute lunacy, combined with you can enjoy it just on the surface as being a raunchy sex comedy of hilarity, and but then you think about it for 5 minutes, and it's got a lot to say, and that's my bread and butter. I love shit like that. Mm-hmm. The animation is it's fine for the most part. But Peter's right, like, it knocks it out of the park with facial expressions, and on occasion when Anna decides to have an action scene.
Yeah.
Like, the budget goes to Anna on an action scene.
Speaking of facial expression, when Anna's pissed...
Yes.
Oh.
And, yeah, if you're at all a prude, this is not your show. No. But it does mean it's not fucking hilarious. And yeah, the show says exactly what it is on the tin, but you get a lot more as a bonus. And the characters are all great. Like, Anna's an engine of destruction and completely innocent of that fact, and that's hilarious. The entirety of Socks are great characters. Even Kosari, who's... Kosari really wants to be a supervillain. She isn't, but she really wants to be. And it's kind of adorable, despite the fact you kind of want to throw her in the blender at a couple times, but that's also the point of the character.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, it's got a lot to say, and I'll leave it to you guys to figure out what it wants to say. It's not hard to figure out what it wants to say.
No.
Just think about it for 5 minutes.
No.
Yeah, I really dig this show. I'm surprised the show doesn't get more. It's relatively recent. It's from a year or two ago. Surprised it's not in more lists. Like, I'm surprised it's not more popular than it is. It's smarter than it pretends to be, and I really enjoy that.
The only list I've ever seen this show, and I didn't know it was this show at the time, is... and I was flicking through YouTube the other day, and I just let them autoplay, and it was girls who are damn thirsty. And it was
Anna.
Anna.
Oh yeah, that's Anna.
It was Anna.
Well, again, I think there are probably a fair number of people who basically don't actually scratch the surface of the show.
No.
That could, you know what? I think it's probably true. Sadly, I think it's probably true.
There are a lot of people who don't scratch the surface of what RoboCop was saying.
That's very
And now
sadly
we're
true.
living it.
And to be honest, I didn't the first time I saw
Right?
it.
No, yeah. The first time you
Granted,
see
I was
RoboCop,
like 12, but
Right.
less younger than that. I think it was like 8.
again, on
Still.
the surface, this looks like it is a typical harem ecchi series.
Yeah.
It is not, but that is what it presents itself as at first. In exactly the same way, weirdly, as Madoka Magica presents itself as a typical magical girl show.
Well, at first.
But again, on the surface, that's what it looks like. And
Yeah,
then you realize very quickly, no, it's not.
Well, Madoka Magica hits you with a fucking truck about what it actually is.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
This
show's more subtle
It
about
show requires you to think about it for 30 seconds.
Yes, it does. But yeah, like again, I like your comparison to Verhoeven because a lot of people don't see what Verhoeven was doing with RoboCop, what he was doing with Starship Troopers beneath its surface.
Yep.
And even though it's right there in the film, would you like to know more?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, I remember seeing RoboCop when I was a kid, and I always all of a sudden look at all this stuff, and growing up and thinking, RoboCop's bullshit. It's just another action movie. And then seeing it again when I was in college, I was like, did I really think it was just another fucking action movie?
Yeah, I will say this. There's a great quote from I forget who said it. It was probably Campbell. That stories can be about more than what they're about.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And this is very much a case of that. And that's
Absolutely.
true.
It's very much a case of that. It's so fucking obvious about it, though.
I agree, but I'm not surprised
it's
that
only a little subtle, but it is like the bare minimum of subtle.
Yes, but again, I do think that I'm not surprised that there aren't many people who talk about it because and put it on lists because it's hard to talk. Like it feels like it's something you can't talk about. Like, and that's part of the point of the show.
Yeah,
yeah. It hits things that like I said earlier when we were talking about Anna forcing herself on Okuma. Because it makes you realize that, and the more you dig into that, and the more you think about what's going on there, the less people want to talk about it.
This is true.
But it's something you have to talk about. Like, that's the thing.
Also very true. Yeah, I mean, that scene is hilarious, and you laugh, and then you think about it, and you feel shitty for laughing at what is effectively a rape scene. It is a rape scene. And then you don't want to talk about it because you feel shitty about laughing about it. But that doesn't change the fact that it's something you got to talk about.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious. Like, it's intentionally done in such a way to be hilarious and then to make you think about it. Yep. Peter's right. It's perfect satire. It is. That scene is perfect satire.
Yep.
You don't get better than that.
Nope. It's hard to.
It's also where the seal comes in, so,
Yes.
It's also where the seal comes in. It feels fucking hilarious.
God damn it.
Oh, we're laughing at a rape scene. A monster.
So well done, though.
Oh. At any rate, thank you guys so much for listening. We really appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed the show. Hopefully King Records doesn't content strike me again. Like they did back on our Disco.
We'll take him to fucking court and they'll lose.
Yeah, well, yes, that's what I did last time. Last time I said, no, this is not your property. This is us talking about your property, which is completely legit. And they backed down.
Falls so clearly under fair use.
It's not even fair use. We're not using their stuff. They're not using their video or their audio.
Fair use. It's a fucking review, assholes.
Yes.
And a positive one. Shut up.
So at any rate, thank you guys so much for listening. Gav, your choice is next. What's our next show, Gav?
I'm sorry, Peter, but I'm going to have to do it. Eric promised me trash and he didn't deliver. So
I gave you as much trash as I'm capable of delivering. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm going all the way trash. And it actually gives us an opportunity to review something, or do something we've never done before. We're going to review a show so new, so brand new, it hasn't actually finished yet. We've watched episode 1, Peter hated it, so this is going to be fun. We're doing Killing Bites.
Killing Bites is the next show. It will basically, if scheduling works out the way we think it will, the show will finish the Saturday right before we record. We would record it. So we will be finishing it on the day it finishes. We'll be finished watching on the day it actually newest episode airs. And yeah, I did not like the first episode. But I will give it time. It might surprise me. I don't think
I will say I will enjoy the show as long as I have supply of booze.
Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody. Have a great rest of your week. Bye.
Bye.